Damn. Okay. Why didn't it allow me to choose a thumbnail? That's naughty. Okay, I hope it wasn't me sipping my wine as we got into this. I'm going to have to bring up YouTube on here. Okay, I'm going to take care of some... Okay. Why didn't it allow me to choose a thumbnail? That's naughty. Okay, I hope it wasn't me. Oh, okay, let's not do that. Sorry, bear with me. Let's put this on mute. Okay, just bear with me just a second. We're going to get into the latest. Let me make sure I've got the right title on here. I have. Okay, so you can see then the latest. Caffeine are now involved in the Norbes versus URL lawsuit. We've got the documents, so we're going to get into them. They've just been filed today. Sorry, just bear with me. Okay. Right, so like I said, we're talking about the Norbes versus the URL lawsuit. The URL obviously recently filed a motion to dismiss. They asked the judge to dismiss Norbes' lawsuit based on a number of points. They didn't even want the case heard, and they've asked the court to dismiss it. I'm going to now bring up the documents. And where are we? Okay, let's not go there. It's not what we want. Okay. So what was that? That was, where are we? Let's just organize this. So if we go back over, this was the notice to dismiss from the URL. They filed this earlier on this week. Again, like I said, asking the judge to dismiss the lawsuit. It's a 31-page document. I've got a long video on my channel going over it. Have a look down, wherever that is, wherever down is. Have a look and see if you want to go through that document. But basically, now Norbes has issued a subpoena to Caffeine, and this is what this is. So today, this isn't the subpoena to Caffeine. What we've got is Caffeine's response to the subpoena. So it's to the judge. It's been filed, like I said, today. And Caffeine's lawyers are writing to request a 30-day extension to Caffeine's time to respond to the non-party subpoena issued by Norbes. So that basically means they're not a party to the proceedings. The proceedings list Smack, Beasley, Chico, and the URL LLC, which is funny because he's suing them as a partner, which is a separate legal entity to LLC. You can't be both a partnership and an LLC. So one of the reasons why they're asking for this to be thrown out is because they're saying it's invalidated. Why can't I go back to my document? It's annoying. Okay. So caffeine's lawyers are asking, where was I? Excuse me. Sorry, Caffeine's lawyers are asking for the judge to give them more time to respond to Norbes' subpoena. Now, Norbes served this subpoena on the 30th of October. This is the first we're hearing about it, sort of 2 weeks later. Caffeine have until the 19th of November to respond to the whatever they're being asked for in the subpoena, but they're asking for more time, and they're asking for more time to evaluate, to have a look at it and to respond to it because of COVID, which has rendered Caffeine's office non-operational, which is funny, aren't they? I don't know. They're working with URL to put on regular events. I don't know what their office is though and what their level of involvement is. I thought that was quite amusing. The need to assess jurisdictional issues raised by the subpoena. So I don't know if this is because the URL Caffeine are based in LA. Is that right? Caffeine, and I guess their head office perhaps is based in LA. This is a New York civil case. I don't know if that raises automatic jurisdiction concerns. I think it would do, or issues. And they're saying they need more time to assess that. The scope of the subpoena, which has 41 separate requests, each of which is extremely broad. So Norbes is asking for a lot of Caffeine's law, or for Caffeine to produce a lot. And broad requests, 41 of them, which are broad. They need more time to, or because of how broad it is, they need more time basically. Norbes, so the plaintiff's failure to include a notice explaining why such disclosures from Caffeine as a non-party are purportedly required. So you haven't even, Norbes has issued this subpoena, and according to this document, the lawyers are saying you haven't even given a reason, a notice explaining why, as we are not party to the proceeding, to this lawsuit, you're subpoenaing us when we're not involved, we're not a party, and pre-existing obligations of counsel. So the lawyers are tied up at the moment. They don't have time to dedicate to this. The requested extension, this is interesting, will cause no prejudice whatsoever to the plaintiff, given that the party discovery in this action has not yet begun and no discovery schedule has been set by the court. So the court haven't set a timetable for when anything is going to be released. Is when anything is going to be scheduled, timetable. There's no discovery date. There's no, pre-trial, pre-proceedings, the sort of formalities, scheduling sort of things that go on. None of that's happened yet. And on top of that, we understand the defendants have moved to dismiss the plaintiff's complaint in its entirety and intend to request a stay of all discovery pending the conference scheduled for December the 4th. So again, important. So they're saying on top of everything we've just said, the URL have asked for the Norbes' lawsuit to be thrown out completely. And they've asked, or they're going to ask, I don't know why they haven't done it yet. I don't know if this is a play for time thing. So they're going to ask the court to request the stay of, so to put off any discovery until this conference happens. There's a conference scheduled for December the 4th. I guess that's a conference for all parties, some sort of pre-trial or is it a trial if it's a civil case? What's it called? Pre-suit? I don't know the technical terms or the legal terms, but I guess it's some sort of, scheduling. This is what we've got to do and when we're going to do it. So saying we don't want any discovery going on. We don't want any exchange of documents or evidence before that time. So for that reason, and the other ones that we've just said, we ask for the deadline to be increased to 21st of November. They would have had until 19th of November, and they still will have if the judges, if the judge in this case doesn't agree to extend their time, then they'll have to respond to the subpoena. But then again, small print here, so this footnote here, in making this request, Caffeine expressly reserves the right to object to the subpoena on any and all grounds, included but not limited to improper service or lack of jurisdiction. Now, I imagine that's standard wording, but basically they're saying we're asking for a deadline to respond, but a response still could be, we're not responding, we object to being pulled into this, either because you haven't served us properly, a technical point, or because you don't have jurisdiction to serve us, again, a sort of another technical point. And then there could be other reasons why they object to the subpoena, or they may respond to it. It's, you know, at this point, it's in the judge's court. I don't know. And one of the things, I haven't done a sort of follow-up to my previous episode, because I don't have any legal knowledge. I can just look at this document and the other documents as a layman, but I don't know tort law. I don't know New York civil law. I don't know what's the next sort of, the URL have said, yeah, we're asking you to throw this out. There are all these sort of points of law on which you need to dismiss this. I don't know if the next step is that the judge must decide whether to do that, or that is also timetabled into the rest of things and things just go on as normal and discovery. I have no idea. But this suggests that at least a conference, it doesn't suggest, it says there's a conference scheduled for December the 4th. And at the moment, there is no discovery. No discovery has been scheduled. So there's no exchange of evidence going on at the moment. So yeah, I don't know. I need a lawyer. I can't, I'm not going to get a lawyer for this, but I could do a bit of work. It would, take a little bit of work to find how these cases proceed. But basically, Caffeine are now involved for whatever reason, and we don't know what they're asking. We obviously can't see the subpoena to Caffeine and what Norbes is asking for. We know that there are 41 counts. We know there are 41 counts in the subpoena, but we don't know what they are. We know they're broad requests. I imagine they are for things like contracts. They want to see the URL's contract with Caffeine, the Caffeine's perhaps individual contracts with the battlers. There's been, so obviously Star is involved in this, and has sort of talked about it on his podcast a few times, and he says he's a good friend of Norbes. He's going to do anything to help get Norbes' money. Norbes is owed something, and he's going to do what it takes to get Norbes' due. And he said he's going to bring battle rap. Did he say we are bringing? He said, I know he specifically said, I want to bring. I don't know his level of involvement of the case. I don't know. Why is Caffeine being dragged into the case? Okay, yeah, you can see. Yeah, I don't know Star's level of involvement. I don't know what he's seeing. I do know Norbes talks a lot to anyone about what's going on. So Star being in the know, perhaps, from what he says. I don't know. Maybe he is in the know. There's no reason for him not to be. But he's talking about, depositions of battle rappers, IRS being involved. And when this issue first arose, when Norbes filed this lawsuit, and there was a $40 million claim in there, and there was an 81-page document which really didn't say much. It was a document, I could have produced it, from public knowledge, just from, it lists events. It lists some statements where, Smack has called him, or he's been called a partner, where he's in some credits and stuff. But I could probably on that note, make Math Hoffa a partner or something. It seemed to be, it didn't seem to have, it seemed to be long in content, but not in substance. And I've completely lost my train of thought. Excuse me. So yeah, when I saw that, when I saw that lawsuit, that was it. And I'd spoken to Norbes, I'd heard lots of talk about it, and those big figures. My first thought was that the intention is not to actually go through with the lawsuit, because especially if, the URL are going to do everything in their power to drag this out. This is what you do to, first of all, get rid of it. And if we can't get rid of it, then we're going to prolong it. And in fact, even in the getting rid of it, we might prolong the getting rid of it if we've got a high likelihood of getting rid of it, because it costs you money. Every time you've got to go back to court, every time your lawyers have got to file more paperwork, every time they've got to have another conference with you, every time documents have got to be, sought, or depositions have got to be done, all of that takes a lot of time and money. And the party with the time and money does that. They drag the lawsuit out. It's a way of making it go away so that you have to, back out because you can't afford to continue, or you accept a settlement, an out of court settlement, which is generally a private thing. No one knows what's going on. Your business isn't put out there, and the matter goes away quietly. And my first thought, opinion, no knowledge whatsoever, was that this is what Norbes is trying to do. He's just trying to provoke a settlement, and I had no idea what his chances were of doing that. But I did think, and I said, talked about this on the Caffeine show. I think we've talked about this a couple of times, and I did say that I thought that the URL on paper, at least for a few years, have been straight. Like they weren't concerned about sort of the IRS and whatnot poking around what they have done, because what they have done on paper looks right. And it might not have been right at the time, but you can go back and make things right. And there are fines and things to pay, but it's all above board. As to their business registration stuff, I'd found the LLC document from 2017. I'd found reference to other documents, so I knew that they were an LLC, at least as of 2017. And like I said, there was reference to it. I only just didn't do more digging because I didn't have the time, but it was easy enough to find that they weren't a partnership. They were a separate legal entity, and you cannot sue a partnership you cannot sue an LLC, a limited liability company. It's a separate entity, a legal definition. It's a separate legal definition to a partnership. Norbes is claiming to be a partner in a business which is a partnership. The URL is an LLC, and it says that on the lawsuit, on Norbes's lawsuit, where he's saying, I am a partner in this LLC. It just added more sort of eyebrow raising for me. I am not a lawyer. I have no knowledge of US law, New York State civil law. I don't know any of that stuff, but it seemed very basic, the whole thing. So it just seemed like it's a way to force the hand of the URL, and especially if you talk loudly about everyone's business is being put out there. I'm asking for financial documents. In disclosure, we're going to see everything. We're going to see what you're making, the caffeine deal, whatever, and also what battlers are making. Have battlers declared all of their earnings, all of their income, what's gone under the table, it's just a whole big mess that I would imagine the URL would want to avoid. And if that was the case, if that was able, sort of liable to happen, where everyone's financial transactions are brought out in public, it could be disastrous for a lot of battle rappers. And again, I go back to, that was why I thought Norbes is trying to force a settlement. So yeah, I don't know. We'll go back and have one more look at the Caffeine's response to the subpoena, where they're asking for more time. So what we do know is that we know that there is a conference scheduled for 4th of December. We know that party discovery has not yet begun, and no schedule has been set by the court. So there's no timetable and no evidence has been exchanged between the parties or filed with the court. We know that Caffeine either have to respond to this by the 19th of November, or they're asking for an extension up to 21st of December, or any date between 19th of November and 21st of December that the judge chooses. The judge might say, okay, I grant your request to extend, but not to December 21st. I'm giving you an extra 7 days. You should have got your shit together. We know that the URL are also intending to file, what was the other thing? They intend to request a stay. That was it. So the conference is scheduled for 4th of December, and they're asking that no discovery happens before that anyway, regardless of what the judge does with their motion to dismiss the complaint. So if you don't dismiss that, then we're asking for nothing to happen until 4th of December anyway. And that's where we're at. I'm sure someone with some legal knowledge would be able to purse out a lot more from these documents, and also give a lot more give a more accurate description of where things are and what sort of a case Norbes actually has. There are lots of people who are talking about it. I don't know that any of them are lawyers or have access to legal knowledge to inform their opinion. I know what it looks like, but the law doesn't operate like that. So I think we're going to wrap it up there. I don't know if anyone's got any questions. I probably don't have the answers for them, even if you do, because again, I'm just here giving my opinion of a publicly filed document. And I would have to have a lot more knowledge to be able to say anything else. Yeah, interesting. Like I said, Norbes. And another thing that we don't know, so Norbes has filed this subpoena, or issued this subpoena to Caffeine. Who else has been issued a subpoena? Have battle rappers been issued subpoenas? That was what Star was talking about. We only know about this subpoena because there's a response to it. So the subpoena Norbes filed was almost 2 weeks ago, 30th of, or Norbes issued, sorry, I keep using the wrong words. That was on the 30th of October, almost 2 weeks ago. They had sort of 3 weeks, I guess that's 21 days to respond. If other subpoenas were issued on that day, because I would imagine when you do these things, you kind of do them all at once generally. What do you call it? A sort of a spontaneous type attack. You don't let, everyone knows at once, basically. They would also have until the 19th of November to respond. So we could be seeing more responses like this, or people talking about it. I don't know. We shall see. Lots of unknowns, but that's the extent of what we do know. This is interesting, because if things do proceed, and if if it does, if Star is talking, completely accurately with 100% knowledge, battle rappers are being brought into depositions, their financial dealings are being laid bare, then that's messy, that's hella messy, and there's a lot of people who potentially could be caught up in it. So I hope it doesn't go there, but I'm just an observer. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for tuning in, and I'm staying on this. If you want to see, like I said earlier, I did a video on the initial lawsuit. I did a video on the on URL's first response to dismiss the lawsuit. So if you want to check that out, that's there on my channel. Have a look at that. And yeah, join me for further updates. I've been London Jen. This is Battle Rap World. Thank you for tuning in. Hit the like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff.